Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tome Travelers, a science fiction fantasy book club. Wow, I really stumbled through that.
Science, fantasy, fiction, book
Science
podcast.
fiction fantasy. Yeah. It's a new month. It's a new book, and we even have a special guest with us. So this month we are reading "The Lies of Locke Lamora" by Scott Lynch. And Epic, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so everyone calls me Epic, or Cameron's my actual name. You can call me whatever. Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you. We're excited to kind of bring someone in on this, this little book journey
for
that we're going on.
For a little context,
Yes,
this is a reread for Dylan and I, so we wanted another person having like the new reader experience.
Because otherwise it would just be Matt talking, and
it would just
it would have been dull.
Yeah, no, but
what do you think's gonna happen, man?
I don't know.
It's just very like, what's the word? Intimidating or what's the word? Interrogating. That's it. Just the entire time. But no, we're excited and happy to have Epic with us this month. He'll be joining us for all 3 episodes, so we're excited.
Yeah, by the end of it, maybe we'll figure out how to not refer to him as his gamer tag.
Yeah.
I
can kind of do it because not that Matt, but other Matt calls him Cameron all the time. So like I've got it in my head.
Before we jump into our book talk, though, Whitson, we have a question.
Yes. Okay. So, what is your favorite mystical object of power from sci-fi or fantasy? Well, actually, broad, whatever your favorite mystical
object, I think is the better one.
Yeah.
Epic, you're the honorary guest. I think you should take the lead here.
Making me go first. Oh God. I had to narrow it down to one, it would probably have to be the Horcrux from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Nothing? He gets nothing from you for that?
Okay.
Wait, you want me to fight back? I mean, I already said my
piece.
No, like I said, hey, the Horcruxes are an awesome idea. We just have
they're pretty cool.
Harry Potter issues.
I personally have Harry Potter issues. Nothing against you as a person, Epic. I just think
let me just state, I fully came into this just like, okay, how am I just going to mess with MD? How am I going to screw over Matt? And that was the first thing that popped in my head.
No, it's good. It's good.
To give an actual answer, probably would be the Onyx statue from the Legend of Drizzt series. Just because panthers were my favorite animals, so being able to summon Guinevere,
that's a fucking awesome answer. I was thinking about Icing Death from Just also. You want to take it next, MD?
Okay, yeah. So I literally thought long and hard about this. I had some like comic book things, I had some fantasy book things, but I think I'm deciding on the Death Note.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about anime.
I didn't even think like manga or anything. I was just like, okay, books, movies, games.
So like the very first anime I watched was Sword Art Online. The very second anime I watched was Death Note, and I loved it. I love the
You're out here talking shit to fantasy fans, and the first 2 anime you ever watched are fucking Death Note and Sword Art Online.
Hey man,
oh my God,
you got to start somewhere. But dude, Death Note is such a cool concept. And it's just such a cool. The show is amazing. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. But yeah, that's mine. I'm gonna go with Death Note.
Okay.
What about you
next,
Dylan?
Or do I have to go?
Man, you go, because now I'm sitting here running through animes.
Okay.
I'm like, I know there's a good one.
Taborlane's Cloak of No Particular Color, just because it's so mysterious and like it just makes you wonder about the main character's journey a lot, especially in the second book. But yeah, Taborlane's Cloak of No Particular Color.
And wait, what book is that from?
King Killer Chronicles.
Okay. Which I think we're gonna read soon.
Yeah, is that your next book?
No, not mine. I think it's December or something like that. It's months off.
But yeah.
I'm just gonna go with the one I had originally planned before I started. And like you said, there's a lot, but I picked the compass from Jack Sparrow's compass that always points at what he wants. Yeah.
That's good.
And it just so happens to lead him to rum.
Yeah, rum all the time.
Yep.
Then he gets his rum and he's like, okay, now I can figure out where it goes. All right.
Well, with that, let's go ahead and jump into episode 10 of the Tome Travelers.
Episode 10. We made it to 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
All right.
It's almost like anniversary.
Whitson or Dylan, do you have the synopsis?
Whitson wrote it. He can
Yeah, I can take it.
Okay, Whitson, take it away.
So the prologue, The Boy Who Stole Too Much. We read through that. Locke slips in with the Catchfire orphans and makes his way to Shades Hill. Thiefmaker is training orphans there to be professional pickpockets and kind of amateur level thieves. On his first night, the Thiefmaker has to apologize to the Watch and pay for Locke breaking the secret piece on his first night. We jump forward to the Thiefmaker selling him to Father Chains. Then we go back and find out he almost started a quarantine and incited a plague riot in the Narrows and got a tavern burned down. And apparently that's not even the reason that he's selling Locke. Apparently he did something even worse. We're introduced to Chains for real through like Locke's POV. Callow and Galdo, the Nameless 13th, and like the concept of his priesthood. And then Chains demands the story of Locke's most recent transgression, whatever it is that got the Thiefmaker to sell him. And then we jump forward in time to the Don Salvara game. The Gentleman Bastards make the first touch with Don next to the Temple of Flowing Waters. And it kind of gives us some world building through like the Via Camarazza and the market. And then they're starting their game, and Bug has to distract the Watch and make a run for it. And then Locke and John, meanwhile, are making their connections with Salvara and like playing him off of Don Jacobo to like insert themselves into the circuit, like whatever is going on here. And that's where we're at so far.
All right, what'd y'all think?
All right, I'm gonna start here because
you go for
you guys have ruined me. After reading that prologue and just everything, some backstory here. I was honestly kind of dreading this. It's been probably like 7-8 years since I've read a book. So I was sitting here like, am I going to be interested in reading or anything? That prologue's final hook absolutely ruined me. And I've just been sitting here like, well, what happens next? What happens next? Like, to then jump into such a fleshed out world. World being built only in one chapter. I was blown away. Like,
yeah. And the world gets even better. Like, wait till they start describing the towers and stuff.
That was one of the things I noticed too, was just like the immaculate world building, which was just insane. I also like felt the same way. Like, I've had this book like hyped up for so long, like not even these guys, but like other people that I've heard of, like, oh, have you read Lies of Locke Lamora? And I'm just like, no, not yet, or whatever. And I'm finally getting into it, and like we get in. And, like, I feel like immediately it just, like, throws you in, and it gives you so many questions at the very beginning that you're just like, okay, I want to know. I want to know. I want to know.
It's so many questions, as well as it's, like, paced well enough to where you don't feel overwhelmed with that many questions or anything. You have time to kind of digest what's going on until the end of that prologue. I literally was at work listening to the audiobook and just had to stop, like, wait. Yeah. Wait a minute, do I need to go back? Did I miss something? Like,
Yep.
Are you guys listening to the audiobook?
So I'm listening to the audiobook, and then I also have the hardcover copy, but this week I specifically just listened to the audiobook because I was doing like house chores around the house.
Well, I wanted to ask because this is one of my like favorite performances, so I wanted to see what you guys thought of it. It's like way up there for me.
Yeah, I listen to it every time. Like I've got the physical copy, but I love listening to it.
See, I've gone back through
Michael Page's narration's so good.
I've gone back through and read some of it.
Perfect voice for it.
And every time I'm trying to read it, his voice is popping in my head now. Yeah. Like I can't even read it in my own inner monologue.
That's what the really, really good ones do. Okay, so what have you guys pieced together about the setting in the world? Where do you think we're at? What does Camor look like?
What does it look like?
Yeah, or what do you imagine
it as?
I feel it's very like dark. You know, like very like I just feel very
like seedy underbelly kind of.
Yeah, like in the not in the trenches, but like in the slums or whatever. I just get like a, I don't know, what's
a grimy kind of
grimy,
vibe.
yeah, like New York in like the 1913s or whatever, like.
See, not even
crime everywhere.
Yeah.
Not even just in the slums. When they mention that they make it to like the Temple of Flowing Waters and everything, they're pointing out, guess who's the pickpocket? Like it's not. It's everything feels like it's grimy and just kind of like.
So when I first read this part, I almost got like Venice vibes, the way it's describing like the way they're going through the on the water and the rivers and stuff. And then like it's almost like Venice vibes in this part, and then later you'll get an area and it's like New York or something. Yeah, it's really cool the way the world's actually built. I wish, do they have a map of it?
I'm sure some fan has compiled a map.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's one in one of the books.
There's like there's a little map right here.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, that don't really flush it out like I was hoping though.
No, well,
paperback copy.
Yeah, when I was describing it earlier, I said that it was Venice built by aliens.
Yeah,
because of like all the Elder Glass everywhere. It's just Venice built by aliens, and everything is just Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
That's how I picture it.
What do y'all think about the characters so far?
Dude, I'm like so confused, but also like off rip, like it introduces you to Locke from someone else's perspective. It introduces you from, and I have started really liking when authors do that, and you can thank Sanderson for that. But
from the Thiefmaker's perspective, right?
Yeah, it gives you the Thiefmaker's perspective, and it's like it talks about him as like, oh, I have to get rid of him, or if I don't, I'm gonna have to kill him. And I'm like, okay, what's up with this guy now? And so now, and like obviously the book's named after him, so like I'm just so invested in him, and like the more information we get about him, the more questions I have about him.
Yeah. I like how he described him. He's literally a medium in everything. Like everything's average.
And he has larceny in his heart.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite lines. He's like, "His larceny in his heart, Chains."
He steals too much.
So good.
And Chains is another really good character. That I love Chains. That's what me and Whitson were talking about earlier. He's got like so many like one-liners there in this part that crack me up.
Yeah, it's just at every part. Like if you're just like scrapbooking while reading through this, you could make a whole scrapbook of his one-liners.
Yep.
He's just such a funny character. Like the scene where Locke puts his hands on his eyes and he heals them.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, the Thiefmaker and Chains are two characters that I'm just like, I want a resolution with them. Like I want to know part of their full story as well, and we're only in the prologue. They're not even in the first chapter.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you guys, what's your best theory on how Locke makes it from point A to point B? From this little shitwit kid that Chains is threatening to kill to a master thief. Like where do you think we're going to go?
Oh, that's hard. I honestly,
it's a pretty big question. It's pretty big question.
There's so many ways, but
first, why don't we talk about what he's doing in the first chapter? So he's running a confidence game. So how do you think he got those abilities to be able to? So we see him at first. He does a whole wardrobe change and takes on this whole different persona with accent, language, everything. Like he's got it down to the wire, and they talk about how they've run other games like this already and successfully pulled them off. So how do you think he gets all this information and point A to point B, like Whitson said? Y'all have any theories on that?
I mean, probably honestly just a lot of time, and I think they mentioned in the first chapter, I forget which character it was, but they're sitting on the building watching the Dawn go to the temple literally every week for months, so they know that, hey, this is his routine at this time. Just a lot of research.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I think that like how he gets from like this tiny little kid or whatever to like this master thief is like it has something to do with what's the name? The guy who he goes to after the thief maker.
Chains.
Yeah, Chains. Like it has to do with like I think Chains really is gonna change the way that Locke views like, oh, it's not just stealing petty things from, you know, Yellow Jackets or things like that. It's you can do a lot more with information or with, you know.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's a multitude of things too, where it's like literally how Whitson said, there's larceny in his heart. It's in his blood.
Yeah.
Then the thief maker kind of teaches him the basics of like, here's, you know, a general just thief. Then it feels like Chains is going to be like, okay, but also think outside the box. I mean, we've already seen him think outside the box when he painted himself up like he had the plague and then went to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's already at 5 in the prologue thinking of things like that. And it worked.
They're going to take his natural abilities and refine them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and broaden his perspective.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I didn't know if you guys might have had any like particular intuition, like, oh, I think this is, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty concise. What have you picked up on that's different from the past to the present? Are there any big details that seem to have changed, shifted? Any characters missing or new?
I'll be honest, we talked about it even a little bit earlier. I didn't realize how much of a time jump there was, because I heard them say in the line that, you know, they were twice the age of Bug. I missed how old Bug was when they first said it. So I was still thinking this was like Locke, you know, maybe 3 years from now, not, you know, 15, 20 years, like way later down the line. So
he's like 30-something, isn't he?
No, so he says that Jean says that they're twice Bug's age, and Bug is 12. So they're in their mid-20s.
Okay.
Presumably. Honestly, it was the first couple times I read through, I thought it was left vague intentionally.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like you don't know how old Locke is, you don't know if he's aging or whatever. Like, let's just keep that off your mind. But no, I think they're in their mid-20s.
What do you mean if he's aging?
Well, like
Whitson.
Everything you're gonna say, having read the book now we're gonna be thinking about it.
No, I'm saying that the author I thought the author intentionally didn't want you thinking about that.
Yeah.
That was what I thought, but it says pretty explicitly.
So it helps Locke's games because he doesn't look old or young.
Right.
Yeah. He can be 45 in makeup, or he can be 15 in makeup, and he's kind of wherever.
It is interesting to see Callow and Galdo though still with him, and it makes me wonder if Locke is working on his own now, or if he's still under a boss like Chains is the one who sent them to do this. Because is this Locke's team, or is this a team Locke put together for somebody else's mission?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a good question.
Is like, again, how did he get from here to there? Is Chains no longer in the picture, and Locke just kind of took over,
kind of moved on,
the organization, or made his new thing. So, and like they two just came over by respect, or maybe he's forcing them. I don't know.
Respect or just no other choice.
Yeah. So when the Thief Maker and Chains are talking too, they talk about the big man. If y'all picked up on that.
Yep.
Kappa Barsavi. The Barsa.
See, that's where I think maybe this is a like full series, right? It's not just a one-off book.
Yeah,
I swear there's gonna be a point where they just steal from him, if not in this book. Like that is as soon as they said, "Oh yeah, the big man," I'm like, well, there's one of the top targets until a new big man gets introduced or something happens.
They're just gonna Dragon Ball Z it in every book. It's just
every time it's just another person.
It's just a bigger power scaled big man.
I would say Ocean's 13, like Ocean's 11 to 13 is more the vibe, but
definitely.
Yeah, I definitely get Ocean's 11 vibes from this book.
Dude, I love heist stories. Heist stories get me every time. Like, and I think that's part of why I'm so biased towards this book and this series. But God, they're fantastic.
It does it very well.
It's kind of like the best execution of it too.
There's heist, but there's also twists, turns. There's different things going on that y'all will see later, and I'm really looking to y'all's next episode. I'm really looking forward
next
to the next
episode's
episode,
gonna be
and then
something.
what y'all think's gonna happen, and then I'm really looking forward to the last episode when y'all see what all happens.
Yeah, when you get to eat shit and find out you were wrong about everything.
Why do I feel like I'm just gonna be at work listening to this and just like start throwing stuff, just like no,
no,
Dude, I'm
gonna be doing the same thing.
I know at one point you'll want to throw some shit, but
oh man, no, I think Locke doesn't age. That's now my new theory.
That's just still a 5-year-old boy.
Oh my god. Well, okay, so you're a prolific note taker in your reading sections. Have you seen anything that you are like dead certain is foreshadowing in
okay.
MD?
So I'll be honest, I didn't take notes for this one because, as I said, I was listening to it while doing house chores. And I meant to go back through and take notes, but I just ran out of time this week. So no.
Okay, fair enough. Have you seen anything epic that's like tipping you off towards what's going on, or like
Not
something's
really.
coming for them? No.
Besides
Okay.
just them building up to 2 different dawns and everything.
So when you were reading, nothing like seemed out of place. Like, why is this here? At any point.
Maybe in the moment, but nothing that I can remember off the top of my head, honestly.
I mean, like, in the prologue, so much happened that I'm like,
yeah, there's so many things that were going on that I'm like, okay, I think I know. We'll get to it.
I think I know what Whitson's alluding to, and I didn't catch it the first read through, but I've caught it.
Okay, wait. I think I have something. Now that I think about it, I know that it says like the reason that the thief maker has to get rid of him is that he had 2 others killed. As in, like, he didn't do it himself. He had someone else do it. So what does that entail? Who did he have kill them?
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna. I mean, that's soon. Soon you'll get some closure on that one.
See, these are the little things that.
See, that I did think about that. I was just like, well, what's going on? But I didn't think that would be anything big because it's literally the first thing that he asks him to talk about.
Which would be a massive foreshadow setup from the very beginning.
That's true, but I guess it depends on when it gets answered, is what it was in my head. If it's literally the next thing we're about to read.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. I don't think that this qualifies as spoilers.
Is it
not the thing that I'm talking about? No, because anybody who is reading along who watches this episode is going to be screaming at their monitor like 90 seconds ago, anyways. So it's fine. Give the Temple District a small reread, and you'll see.
You might pick up on things.
You might pick up on it. But no. So the structure of all 3 books is the story of how they grew up and became master thieves, interwoven with the current day story.
Yeah.
So you can expect to learn about Locke and John and everybody else's backstories more and more and more throughout the whole series. It's not something that's going to just like boom be done. So yeah, I hope that that's not spoiling anything for anyone. I don't think it is, but
look, it's nice to know that at least it gets answered and not just, oh, and by the way, here's Bug. He's here for chapter 1, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh man. So do you guys think that the hooks are like in Don Salvara? Do you think they've got him like on the line?
So I think he's at least falling for it. I don't think his servant. I don't know, because they kind of mention him. They mentioned him being wide-eyed when they mentioned the other Dawn, and that was like it. So I don't know if he's convinced as well, or if he's just kind of going along for it. But at least right now, for the Don Salvara, absolutely.
Okay. What about you, MD?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Okay, fair enough. How much of the scheme, how much of the structure of the scheme have you been able to figure out so far?
Not much.
Not much?
I mean, besides what they flat out tell us, with especially at the start, and kind of pretty much weaseling their way in.
Well, you want. I mean, it's not going to leave you confused for forever. But I was hoping you guys would have some harebrained, just off the wall theories.
If I like went back through like I normally do and like take vicious notes, I would have, but I didn't, and I feel unprepared because of it.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't want to do that because I don't want to have that lingering thought in the back of my head. 2 weeks from now, like, okay, was this it? Was I right? And then it just either be completely right and I ruined it for myself with the twist, or being completely wrong and being like, that's stupid. I should have been this way. I am along for the ride and just like, you know what? They can fool me as well. Like,
well, see, that's what makes you immune to red herrings and MD extremely susceptible to them.
Yeah, no kidding. This gives me like, this is a good analogy. This gives me like Now You See Me vibes. Have you seen that movie?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I feel like this book is going to be, and that is one of the few movies which I have not guessed the end, like which I wasn't able to guess the ending to.
Well, because the ending to that movie is nonsense.
Yeah.
You won't guess the ending of this.
Good.
Oh hell no! There's 0% chance. I'm not even worried about spoiling anything because no one's guessing. No one's guessing the ending.
I take that as a personal challenge with them.
Yeah, I'm sitting there now. Like, do we just want to put it in something right now and come back to it next week?
I'll bet a whole $1.
Oh man, no! Now I'm gonna be taking vicious notes.
Okay, all right. Well, you'll have better answers to my questions next week.
I really hope so. I really hope so. Hold me to it.
Okay. Well, do you guys have anything generally that y'all would like to talk about the book that is something I've missed in the questions?
No, I mean I really like it. It's very good, especially from all of the stuff we've been reading recently. It's a nice little palate cleanser, kind of like the last book was. But I'm
really enjoying it. I love too that they're not just focusing in on Locke. Like, Locke is the big player here, but we get to see Bug's whole adventure. We get to see Callow and Galdo worrying about Bug before we even hear about Locke and all that afterwards. Like, it is the whole group with him being as the center man versus just, oh, here's Locke's story and they just show up when they show up.
Yeah.
They definitely all have their own skills, and his games wouldn't work without the others.
Yeah. They're not sidekicks, they're like important characters.
Yeah.
Which feels
like Oceans.
Feels nice.
Like Oceans.
Yeah. I mean, you have Matt Damon like 4th on the call sheet. Like, that's where we're at right now.
And you'll learn, you'll learn also, like he said, it goes back and shows how they became master. You'll learn like how each of them you'll learn about their different skill sets and like the different things that they know compared to the others. So
yeah, we're hyping the book up a ton, and we have been for months. But there'll be big payoff.
It stands up. Like,
all right. Well, I think that's everything we've got for this episode. Next episode will be way longer, but
probably way longer.
Where are we reading to for next episode?
Oh, that is a great question. Let me look.
I want to read to somewhere where there's like a cliffhanger.
That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, they're doing it to us again, Matt. We just need to read one chapter past. And just like,
and then pretend
the end of part 2. Yep. The end of part 2. And Dylan, if you look at the
I saw the name. Yep.
The end of part 2 is where we will go to before next episode.
Okay. All right. So
that'll be perfect.
Oh gosh. I do not like the evil smirk on both of your faces right now.
I know. I'm sitting here just like, oh no.
No.
Why?
But yeah. So we hope you all enjoyed. Please, if you did, share, like, and subscribe, or follow the podcast on your preferred platform. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So if you want to watch the video version, which has our face cams and things like that, that's on the YouTube only. And on there, you can also submit your questions for the weekly or whatever it is, fantasy question.
The
bi-weekly, episodically.
Ish, kind of.
Yeah, episodically. I think that's the right word. Fantasy questions. So yeah. With that, we will see you all next time on the Tome Travelers.